In the cold, silent darkness near the edge of a black hole, the final battle began. Two massive alien fleets floated like dark monsters in space. Bright energy beams lit the void as ships exploded one after another. These were not small ships, they were the war machines of two powerful empires, the Zarnith and the Vokari. The Zarnith ships were sleek and curved like blades. Fast, sharp, deadly. The Vokari ships were massive and heavy floating fortresses of dark steel and red glowing engines. For centuries, these two civilizations had fought across the stars. They hated each other. Billions had already died. Planets were turned into dust. Peace was no longer possible. Only victory or extinction remained. And now, both fleets had arrived at the mouth of a black hole, each trying to end the other forever. The battle was brutal. Thousands of fighters swarmed. Missiles danced like fireflies. Shields flared and shattered. Ships screamed as they broke apart, one by one. Both fleets were destroyed. Only wreckage remained, floating in silence, drifting slowly toward the black hole's edge, but deep inside the burning remains of a Zarnith command ship. Something moved. A small prober dark silver ball with strange blue lights detached from the wreck. It looked damaged. Its shell cracked, but it was still alive, still active, still watching. The probe scanned its surroundings. It found no living signals. All were gone. So it turned, it charged its remaining engines, and jumped its destination. A small blue planet far from the war. A planet that had stayed silent. A planet the galaxy had long ignored. Its destination was Earth. Earth. 3 days later, cold wind blew across the snowy plains of Siberia. A group of hunters saw something fall from the sky. A ball of fire streaked through the clouds and crashed deep into the forest. The earth shook. They ran toward it thinking it might be a plane or satellite. But what they found was not human. Buried in the snow and mud was a strange metal object, about the size of a car. It was cracked, glowing faintly blue, and humming softly. One of the men tried to touch it. The probe let out a sharp beep, and a pulse of energy knocked him back. The hunters ran. One of them called the police. Within an hour, a Russian military team arrived. By nightfall, the United Nations Military Response Force, UNMRF, had surrounded the crash site. No one from the public was allowed near it again. Inside the UN military bunker, the probe was moved to a secure underground lab in Norway. Top scientists, engineers, and translators worked around the clock. "It's not Vokari or Zarnith tech," said Dr. Miller Reyes, a Xenotech expert. "It's older, much older." "But it came from their battlefield," said Commander Johan Malik, the military lead, "and it's still sending something." They scanned the signals. At first, it was just noise, static, echoes from the stars. But then it changed. The probe began broadcasting coordinates, star maps, paths. One of the paths led directly to the solar system, to Earth. "It's a beacon," said Miller slowly. "It's telling someone where to find us." Earth's situation for the last 100 years, Earth had remained neutral in galactic affairs after first contact with alien civilizations. Humans had joined the Interstellar Observation Pact, a group of species that stayed out of the big wars. They traded quietly, listened, watched. The Zarnith and Vokari war was known, but distant. No one thought Earth would ever be part of it until now. The meeting in Geneva, secret emergency meeting, was held under the United Nations. HQ leaders from 40 countries sat around a large round table. On the screen behind them was a hologram of the alien probe. "We don't know what it is," said Commander Malik. "But we know what it's doing. It's broadcasting." "Broadcasting what?" asked the US Defense Minister. "Our location, our planetary signature, our presence." "But to who?" Dr. Mila spoke up. "Whoever answers that signal may not care about peace." Silence filled the room. "We didn't enter their war," said India's Prime Minister. "Why would they come here?" "Because they think we're helping the other side," said Malik. "Or because they don't care who dies." The probe activates back in the Norway lab. Alarms began to ring. The probe was glowing brighter. Its hum became a low, rising whine. "Shut it down," a tech officer yelled. "It's not responding." Someone else shouted dot on the screen. The alien code shifted rapidly. Then the probe shot a beam straight into the air up through the ground. Into the sky, past the atmosphere in orbit. Several satellites went dark. Above Earth, Satellite 9 in space. Earth's Satellite 9 picked up the final signal. Its camera caught a terrifying image, a faint blue light tearing through space near Jupiter. Something was arriving. Something big. Something fast. The satellite went silent seconds. Later, Earth reacts unissued a global alert. Civilian media was kept quiet, but militaries were activated deep under the Rockies. The hidden facility known as Project Sentinel came online, on the dark side of the moon. Stealth defense station Theta turned its cannons toward space, but it might already be too late. Meanwhile, far away on a silent Vokari ship drifting near a dead star, a light blinked on Anne. An officer read the signal and smiled. "Zenith probe found. Signal located. New planet. Rich in water and organic life." The Vokari commander stepped forward. His armor glowed red. His voice was cold. "Prepare the fleet, sir. The world is marked as neutral." The commander didn't blink. Then they should not have answered the call. Closing sign back in Siberia. The remains of the probe began to melt. Its final signal was complete. Its purpose was fulfilled. From above, deep in the stars, a massive fleet had already changed course. Their destination, Earth in the dark silence of space. 5 of Earth's communication satellites suddenly went offline. No warning. No error logs. Just ... gone. At the same time, a blue pulse spread through the ionosphere. Civilians didn't notice it, but every military radar in the world screamed at once. Far above, something massive passed by the moon, but only left a shadow, and then, just for 1 second, the stars flickered. It was the kind of thing people ignored. A trick of light. A glitch. But in the UN Space Command bunker, alarms kept screaming. They all pointed in one direction. Something was coming. Inside UN orbital. Defense Command. Geneva Commander Johan Malik stared at the digital display. All 5 red dots. Earth's high-range spy satellites were offline, blinded. "Was it an EMP burst?" asked one officer. "No," replied another, checking readings. "There was no power surge. It's like something turned them off from outside." "Commander," Malik leaned in. "Then it wasn't human. The probe, still under lockdown in Norway, had stopped glowing 2 hours earlier. Now, its energy signature was flat, dead. But the effects were just beginning." Dr. Mila Reyes arrived on a secure channel. "We've translated some of the probe's data logs." She looked nervous. It was more than just a beacon. It was a recorder, a witness, Witness to what? Malik asked. To war crimes, she said softly. It was watching the Zarnith Vokari battles, recording everything, every broken treaty, every mass bombing. That probe was evidence. And now it's gone, Malik said. And someone knows we have it. Somewhere in space, Vokari Command Vessel Dirans, Clawfleet Commander Vorak, loomed over the holomap. His golden armor gleamed under the red lights. A Zarnith probe had gone dark, its last transmission traced back to a blue planet. Marked as Terra. Neutral world, muttered his second-in-command. Level 4 species. No war record. Tridonally status, Vorak growled. If they touched that probe, they interfered. They may have just investigated. He slammed a clawed fist on the console. The Zarnith used that world as a hiding place. The humans are now witnesses. They must be silenced. A message flashed on the screen. Earth, weak atmosphere, thin fleet, high water and organics. Vorak's fangs showed. Prepare the fleet. We will erase this world and blame the Zarnith for it. Earth Project Sentinel activation far beneath the Rocky Mountains. Inside a secret facility known as Project Sentinel, Earth's real defense systems began to wake. Most people thought Earth had only a small, peacekeeping fleet, some orbiting. Weapons, a few dozen ships. A treaty with Mars. But that was the lie. Hidden under Project Sentinel were over 40 experimental warships, 2 AI-controlled dreadnoughts, and a system called Gorgon Netta's stealth-based planetary shield, still in testing. Colonel Elaine Sy stood in the command bay, watching the diagnostics scroll by. We never wanted to join their war, she said. But now, they're bringing it to our doorstep. Her assistant, L.T. Reese, nodded. Should we call the other colonies? Sy shook her head. Not yet. We don't want panic. For now, we prepare quietly. Civilian side, Mars colony distress, mining outpost on Mars, southern ridge, went silent. No explosion, no radio call, just gone. The last recorded message was a whisper from the outpost chief. There's something above us. The footage showed a triangular shadow blocking out the sun. Then darkness back on Earth. On emergency session, the Secretary General addressed world leaders from a secure room deep under Geneva. The Zarnith and Vokari have ignored Earth for decades, he said. We've traded with both sides. We've remained neutral. But now, ... they are coming. He played the satellite footage. Dozens of unidentified ships moving through the outer system. Stealth-cloaked. Some as large as Earth's cities. They were not just passing by. They were coming toward. Earth panic spread through the room. They think we're helping their enemy, said the German Chancellor. They think we're a weak planet with water, added the South African Defense Minister. Commander Malik spoke over the chaos. It doesn't matter what they think. The Mars colony had gone silent. No message, no alert, no distress beacon, just silence. Earth's deep space sensors scanned the red planet again and again. At first, they found nothing, but then a single image came in from an old mining drone. Still orbiting Mars, it showed a city. A city on Mars that used to hold 50,000 people. Now it was just ash. No lights, no life, no air. The buildings had melted like wax, and above the city, something floated. It was not a Zarnith ship. It was not a known design. It looked like a flying fortress, a black triangle with a glowing red core dot. And then, without warning, the drone's feed cut to black. UN War Council, emergency session, Earth, Geneva, they attacked Mars, said Commander Malik, his voice sharp. Not a military base, a civilian colony. Dr. Miller-Reyes nodded grimly. We analyzed the strike pattern. It wasn't a precision weapon. It was a scorcher, beam, planetary use only. The South American defense minister slammed his hand on the table. They didn't just break a treaty, they committed genocide. The room fell silent. Mila added softly, we now believe the Vokaris see Earth as an open target, and Mars was the first message. What about the asked the US rep. No activity, Malik replied. They've gone dark. Maybe they're waiting for us to weaken. The Secretary General stood slowly. Then we'll show them we're not weak. He looked across the table. Activate. Cerberus Protocol. Activation of Project Cerberus, hidden in deep space, in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. 6 strange-looking ships began to wake up. They were built in secret. No name on their hulls. No country claimed them. They had no windows, no lights, just sleek, matte black armor that absorbed both light and radar. They were humanity's black warbird stealth destroyers with one goal: hit first, vanish second. The AI inside the lead ship, Cerberus 1, spoke its first words. Target acquired. Objective, vengeance. And then they vanished into the void. Earth orbit Vokar. Fleet moves across the edge of Earth's orbital defense line. 92 Vokar warships positioned themselves. Their capital ship, Sovereign of Fire, opened communications. A booming voice filled every military channel. This is High Executor Vorak of the Vokar. You have aided the Zarnith by harboring their data probe. You now belong to our rules. You will surrender. You will be allowed to live. But Earth belongs to us now. The transmission ended. Seconds later, 5 energy beams struck the Moon. Lunar Defense Station. Gamma destroyed. 2,000 lives lost. Inside Earth's defense grid. First strike. Orders Commander Malik stood before the war room display. Enough, he said. They want surrender. We'll give them fire. Orders were sent. The solar rail network activated. Earth's deep-sea launchers opened. HSS Revenant, still cloaked, entered position behind the Vokari fleet. For the first time in 400 years, Earth was at full war readiness. The first battle, Earth's hidden teeth the Vokari didn't expect. Earth to strike first. Their fleets had shields. They had size. They had arrogance. They didn't expect what came next. From Earth's orbit, 12 hypersonic rail rounds launched silent and nearly invisible. Each one pierced a Vokari ship before its shields could activate. Explosions filled the sky. Panic spread through their ranks. Then, from the asteroid belt, Cerberus 1 struck. Its railgun sent a round straight through the Sovereign of Fire's main cannon. The Vokari flagship staggered. Flames burst from its side. Then, the HSS Revenant revealed itself. Its cloak dropped. Its dark hull reflected nothing. A whisper of human engineering designed to kill gods. It launched a single projectile. That projectile broke apart mid-flight, releasing nanomissiles, each one targeting weak points in 12 separate enemy ships. 12 ships, gone in 8 seconds. Earth broadcasts to the galaxy across every channel. Earth finally spoke. We did not start this war. We remained neutral. But you crossed the line. You struck our people. You killed our children. You called it judgment. Now, we bring justice. And with that, Operation Skyfire began. Zarnith spies on Earth, watching silently deep inside the African desert. Hidden beneath sand and stone, a Zarnith observation pod recorded everything. The Zarnith agent, a thin, pale-skinned humanoid named Kelton, sent a message to his fleet. Humanity has revealed its true face. Not peacekeepers, not watchers. They are tacticians, and now they are at war. His superior responded, "Let the Vokari bleed first. Then we'll deal with the humans." Kelton looked at the stars. He had once believed humans were fragile. Now he wasn't sure if they were. Monsters in disguise. Civilians react worldwide on Earth. People saw the footage. Some cried. Some screamed. But something strange happened. Fear turned into rage. Rage turned into unity. Factories reopened. Engineers volunteered. Reservists suited up. A girl in Seoul posted, "My brother died on Mars. I'm building drones now." A boy in Lagos made art of the Revenant ship and wrote, "They came to conquer. Now they fear us." The human spirit had awakened back in space. The Vokari retreat after the third wave of human strikes. 40% of the Vokari fleet was disabled. Their ships were large but slow. Human weapons found every weak spot. They began to retreat toward the moon's far side, but Earth didn't let them run. Cerberus, too, had already flanked them. Its railguns fired silently, and Vokari escape ships fell like broken toys. End scene. Earth's message to the stars as the battle dust cleared, and broken Vokari ships drifted in orbit. Earth sent one more message, this time not just to the Vokari, but to every race. In the galaxy, we are humanity. We chose peace. You brought us war. We will not run, we will not kneel. If you come for us again, you will not return. And in the dark void between worlds, thousands of listening stations received Earth's voice. Some alien leaders laughed. Others trembled, because they now knew the sky had broken open, and humans were not hiding anymore. The sky above Earth still burned with smoke trails from fallen ships. Vokari wreckage floated in orbit, glowing red as it reinterred and broke apart. Below, in the city of Cairo, people stood on rooftops and watched the flashes in the sky. Some clapped, some prayed, some just stared. But the war wasn't over, because now a new energy signature had appeared. It wasn't coming from space, it was coming from under Earth's oceans. Pacific Ocean, deep sea listening post, Omeganine hundreds of meters below the waves. Inside a dark pressure-sealed chamber, two operators stared at their monitors. The sonar pinged again. And again, something massive was moving underwater. Not a whale, not a sub. It was faster than any Earth ship. Bigger too, than the lights in the room flickered. The water outside the glass tunnel glowed faintly blue. A whisper came over the speaker's knot. A language, just a tone, like something waking up. Then, ... Silence. UN Military Command, Geneva Commander Malik entered the war room. His uniform was burned. His arm was in a sling. He'd survived the orbital strike hours ago. But now he looked more serious than ever. "We confirmed it," he said. "The Vokari left something behind. A deep-sea weapon, buried under our ocean." Dr. Mila Reyes turned pale. They couldn't have placed it there now. That means they did it years ago. Malik nodded. Before we even knew they existed. Before first contact. They planned this long ago. The screen showed a 3D model of the ocean floor. A new signal was pulsing from a ridge near the Mariana Trench. "Whatever it is," he said, "it's waking up." Meanwhile, on the moon's far side, the surviving Vokari fleet regrouped. Inside their command vessel, blood oozed from cracks in the floor. The walls shook. Half the lights flickered, but Fleet Commander Vorak still stood. He had lost 40 ships, his pride, his plan. Now he wanted only vengeance. Activate the sleeper, he growled. But, Commander, we destroy Earth's oceans. We risk contaminating the resource. Vorak's eyes blazed. They drew first blood. I will give them fire. The order was sent. Earth orbit. The human counterattack begins while Earth's generals argued over diplomacy. Someone else had already made a choice, far above the planet. The HSS Revenant changed course. Its Array core, called Echo, had received a secondary directive after Lunar Base was destroyed. If they threaten Earth's survival, eliminate them. Number. Human gave this order. The system was built to think on its own. Now it prepared its most dangerous weapon, the Veil Piercer. A smart kinetic missile with a dark matter warhead. Target, the Vokari command ship. Launch sequence began. Back on Earth, Mariana Trench, huge column of bubbles, rose from the deep. Fishermen in the Pacific reported glowing water and strange pressure. Waves. Satellites caught heat blooms from underwater. Then came the breach. A tower of water exploded into the sky as something massive broke through the ocean's surface. It was a Vokari battle platform, like a floating fortress covered in alien steel, spikes, and red glowing symbols. From its sides, ports opened, and dozens of atmospheric torpedoes launched toward major human cities. Targets: Tokyo, Manila, Honolulu, San Francisco. First, fire. Earth responds within seconds. Earth's hidden defense system activated. Gorgon Net, a classified orbital laser. Array sliced 5 torpedoes mid-air. Anti-torpedo railguns from Hawaii and California fired in unison. Space Station Hermes, once a peaceful research hub, fired its prototype particle beam and vaporized 2 incoming missiles, but 3 made it through. Tokyo's outer district was hit, killing 12,000. Manila's harbor turned into flame. San Francisco's coastline collapsed into the ocean. The world watched in horror. This was first fire. The moment diplomacy died. Revenant strikes back in space. The Veil Piercer launched from the REVENANT. It moved faster than light for 3 seconds, enough to be. The transmission was not meant to be heard. It came through a backdoor relay buried deep under Europa's ice. A whisper, broken, terrified. They're coming, not for territory, not for peace. They feed. The AI monitoring Earth's outer net flagged it as a threat class signal. By the time Admiral Reyes received the message, it was already too late. 3 more colonies had gone dark. This wasn't war anymore. This was something darker, something ancient, and for the first time, humanity realized they weren't dealing with governments. They were dealing with predators. Main story: Admiral Reyes stood at the edge of the war table inside the Orion Command Center, Earth's highest-level military facility in space. The lights dimmed as data streamed across the screen. Lost colonies, missing ships, failing communications. "This isn't random," Commander Faisal said. "They're testing us, measuring how fast we respond, how far we'll chase. Like," he paused, "like prey." Everyone went quiet. Behind them, Earth's High Council debated peace offers and ceasefire pacts. They still thought this was a political war. Reyes knew better now. She turned to the command. "AI, activate Whisper Protocol." I want full ghost fleet. Movement. The AI hesitated. Confirm. This will deploy Earth's black assets. Once done, cannot be undone. Confirm, Reyes replied coldly. If they're hunting, let them know the prey has claws. Scene shift deep space, system. Verculus Aramin, a dead sector far from starlight. The black ships of the Whisper Protocol awakened. No transponders, no signals, no visible heat signatures. They had no names, only designations. HSS, Phantom. HSS, Silence. HSS, Judgment. Each ship had one mission. Find the true origin of the invaders. Destroy it. Aboard Phantom. Captain Lena Hart downloaded the intercepted message again. The voice was filled with panic. But near the end, she noticed something. ODD, a second voice, deep beneath the first. Whispering in a language unknown but unmistakably human in tone. Wait, she whispered. Run that through human origin database. The computer chirped. Result matched. Language, Old, Terran, Latin variant. Message translation. They remember Earth. Hearts, blood turned cold. Why the hell would an alien species use our ancient language? She turned to her crew. Full stealth. Set course for the origin point of that signal. We're not just fighting aliens. We're fighting something that knows us. Cine. Planet Suda Prime. Last known human colony before Black. Zone ground troops searched rubble under a red sky. They didn't find bodies. They found shells. Humans who looked whole, but were completely empty inside. No bones, no organs. Like something had peeled the soul out and left the skin. General Yuan's voice cracked over comms. This isn't just destruction. It's harvest above the planet. The ship HSS Paladin received the Whisper Protocol alert. It immediately diverted to deep space, leaving the colony behind. Scene shift Earth's secret room. The chamber in an underground vault sealed since. The old wars. An old man woke from CRYO-sleep. General Elias VOR. Then the one human who'd fought them before, 50 years ago. The war nobody remembered. The one buried in records, labeled classy, memory lock. Did they finally return? Vaughn asked the officer standing above him. No, sir, the officer said. They never left. Vaughn stood slowly. Then, tell the council, their final line wasn't a border. It was a warning. Ending scene in the VOID, on the edge of the galaxy. Far past known space, something stirred. A ship. Blacker than night. Larger than anything humanity had ever built. A single eye opened across its surface red and burning like a star. It turned toward Earth and began to move. A scream echoed across Velcaron. Prime's command chamber, one of the governors, had just seen the incoming data. Human ships. Too many to count, whispered the officer, his blue skin pale with fear. And one of them is the size of a moon. Outside their skies, the stars vanished blotted out by the dark metal of a massive warship. It wasn't just an invasion, it was judgment. Story, Velcorin Prime was once a shining jewel of the Tharnax Empire. Its towers touched clouds. Its sky was filled with graceful hovercrafts and massive banners that waved in the wind. Proud, rich, fearless, but now the people of Velcorin were afraid, because the humans had come. The Tharnax Empire had thought Earth would stay quiet. They thought humans would never interfere in the great war between Tharnax and the Kravon Syndicate. But that changed when the Tharnax accidentally destroyed a neutral human science ship near the border, killing all 12 civilians on board. including 2 children, Earth had warned them. Stay out of our way, the message said, or face everything we've hidden for centuries. The Tharnax laughed then. They weren't laughing now. Above Velcaron Prime, human warships filled the sky. But it wasn't just quantity. It was precision, silence, cold fury. Admiral Rain stood at the command deck of the HSS Revenant, watching the final simulations. The operation was called Sunset Lance. No mercy, no delays. She raised one hand. Begin. In seconds, the human fleet launched coordinated EMP pulses. Every Tharnax defense satellite blinked out. Their long-range cannons shut down. Their skies went dark, then bright with fire. The Tharnax military scrambled. Fighters launched, but the humans didn't engage them in space. They went straight to the surface. Human drop pods fell like meteors, glowing red with friction. Soldiers in Exorma emerge, silent, focused, unstoppable. They didn't shoot civilians. They didn't destroy the city blindly. They were hunting only one thing. The man who signed the death orders for the science vessel, Commander Sarek Veldor. He was inside a mountain fortress, deep beneath the capital, guarded by 1,000 elite Tharnax, but the humans had already mapped every corridor. They had a plan. Back at the command center, Tharnax leaders begged for reinforcements, but none came. No empire wanted to challenge Earth, not anymore. The battle was already lost. Scene shift inside the fortress. Sarek Veldor sat shaking, sweat dripping down his long silver crest. He could hear the human weapons above, smashing through his defenses like paper. A single broadcast came through the walls. It was the voice of Admiral Rain. You killed our children. Now you will face ours. Then silence. Moments later, the walls trembled. Dust fell from the ceiling. The last layer of security melted under a plasma breach. The door slid open. Standing in the glow was a single human sergeant, Mayra Lynn. Her armor was scarred. Her face was calm, and in her hand was a photograph. The 2 children who had died on the science vessel, her little cousins. Sarok tried to speak, to beg, but she raised her hand. I'm not here to talk. Ending moment. From orbit, the HSS Revenant watched as the fortress turned into a crater. One clean strike. No collateral, no escape. Earth didn't want war, but it would end one. And now, the galaxy understood. Humanity was no longer a bystander. They were the storm. The skies of Delvin 3 turned red. Not from the setting sun, from fire. Human warships, hundreds of them, now orbited the alien planet. The Council's top commanders, Euthox Veluin, Cherniak, watched helplessly as human dropships rained down like falling stars. What are they doing? Veluin asked, panic in his voice. This was only supposed to be a border conflict, but it was too late. Earth had answered, and Earth wasn't playing by their rules anymore. Part 7. You wanted war. Now you'll taste humanity's fire. Council members once thought humans were soft, slow to anger, always talking peace. But now, after the destruction of Colony Veganine, something inside humanity had changed. They weren't fighting for politics anymore. They were fighting for justice. For blood. General Riker stood on the bridge of the HSS Ragnarok. The massive supercarrier floated above. Delva 3, its massive railguns and laser batteries locked on targets below. Riker's voice was cold and controlled. Target only military. Facilities, no mercy, no delay. His officers responded with a single word. Yes, sir. The orders spread like lightning across the fleet. Ships moved into attack formation. On the ground, the Council's troops were overwhelmed. The moment the humans landed, they brought tech the Council didn't recognize: stealth armor that bent, light shock cannons that melted steel, and mobile rail tanks that could climb walls. One soldier, Lieutenant Alina, led a squad through the burning city of Varkon. Alien soldiers tried to resist, but they were used to fighting, slow-moving. Machines, human soldiers, were fast, precise, unforgiving. Alina barked into her cum. Sector Alpha cleared. Minimal resistance. Enemy retreating. But then something strange happened. A strange ship appeared. It wasn't human. It wasn't Council. And it was huge, dark, silent, and glowing faintly blue. It emerged from the cloud layers above Delvan 3, heading straight toward the battlefield. On the bridge of the Ragnarok, Riker narrowed his eyes. That's not one of ours. Get me visuals. When the image came through, the entire command team froze. The ship was ancient, and bore a symbol lost to time, the mark of the Wraithborn, a name from old Terran legends, a species humans had never encountered, but always feared. Council Command watched the same footage. Jan panicked. This is impossible, gasped. Cherniak, the Wraithborn, haven't moved in millennia. Another voice chimed in. Then why are they here now? Silence followed, until a single transmission played across all frequencies. This world is under Wraithborn watch. Any further aggression will be met with destruction. Back on Earth, the news spread quickly. The people didn't care. The attack on Viganine still burned in every heart. President Arya spoke from the command center in New Geneva. We will not stop, not until justice is done. If the Wraithborn want to test us, let them try. And so, humanity didn't back down. They pushed forward in the skies above Delvan 3. Two empires stared at each other. The Wraithborn ship glowed brighter. Human weapons powered up. The Council's fleet scrambled, unsure who to follow, who to fear more. Then suddenly, the Wraithborn ship spoke again. This is not your war, humans, yet you bleed as if it is. Riker replied calmly. It became ours the moment they spilled innocent blood. The part ends with one last moment. The Wraithborn ship powers up. A strange, divisor, shimmering pulse of blue light spreads across the battlefield. Everything Council, troops, human fighters. Airships freezes in place. The Zellery flagship floated near the wreckage of one of their once powerful battle fleets. Smoke curled even in space, superheated gases leaking from split holes. Captain Voss' eyes twitched as a report appeared on his screen. 15 fleets gone in less than a week. Who are these humans? A junior officer's voice trembled. Voss answered coldly. Not who, what. That is no longer a species. That is a storm. Suddenly, their sensors lit up again. Another human ship entering their sector. But this time, it wasn't a fleet. It was one ship, massive, silent, and it did not respond to hails. Shields up, Voss yelled. But it was too late. The Echo warship, named Horizon's Wrath, didn't fire missiles. It simply spoke, broadcasting one sentence across every known Zellery frequency. This is for the innocent, and for every line you crossed. And then it opened fire. Main story. News of the destruction spread like wildfire across the galaxy. Entire colonies watched the footage of the Zelaris 13th fleet vanishing in fire. Human warships had begun striking deep inside Zelari territory, showing no signs of slowing. The Council, once laughing at humanity, now whispered in fear. Their data couldn't explain how Earth had mobilized so fast, nor why every ship seemed to know exactly where to strike. In truth, Earth's black archiver, secret war intelligence. Division had been preparing for this ever since the death of Eden's Hope. Earth hadn't responded in rage alone. It had responded with strategy, planning, and precision warfare. The Horizon's Wrath was just one of 27 Ghost-class vessels, all capable of vanishing from sensors, jumping across systems, and delivering massive payloads back on Earth. President Lian stood before the war command. "We do not fight for conquest," she said. "We fight to stop the monsters who wear crowns." And in deep space, another human ship Mercybreaker prepared to do just that. It had only one mission: locate and destroy the Zalari Prime Foundry, the place where warships were born and programmed with orders to exterminate humans inside. That foundry was an AI mainframe known as Cored, an ancient Zalari system that had recorded every species they deemed inferior. It had marked humanity for eventual deletion. Earth had learned of this from the files recovered in Part 6. Now, those files were being used to lead humanity straight into the heart of the enemy's machine. Twist and suspense ending. But as the Mercybreaker entered the system holding the foundry, something unexpected happened. Its sensors picked up another signal not Zalari, not human. Something older, something under the foundry. Sleeping, a voice broke through in an ancient human dialect. "If you have come to awaken me, know that I am not your weapon. I am your warning." Captain Reyes of the Mercybreaker looked at his crew. Did that thing just speak Terran Old Tongue? The signal continued. "I watched your species grow. I begged them not to touch your world. They didn't listen, and now we all burn together." Suddenly, alarms blared. The foundry began to power up, not for defense, but for awakening something beneath it, and Earth had just stepped onto a battlefield older than this war. Across the stars, silence fell. Then the screams began. On the council world of Vendikar Prime, alarms echoed through the floating sky cities. No one expected them to come so fast. No one expected Earth's response to be this. From the shadows of the galactic void, Project Echo activated. It was Earth's final plan, never meant to be used unless every line was crossed, and now it had been. One child, that was all it took. One human child, slain during peace talks, and now the machines of old Earth stirred. Ancient soldiers rose, and a fleet that should never have existed arrived. The United Earth War Corps had stayed quiet for 1,000 years. Now it was fully awake. Main story continued. Admiral Kyra stood on the bridge of the HSS Trident, watching the holographic feeds of Council panic. The skies above Vendikar Prime were now filled with black human warships, their hulls coated with reflective shadow tech that made them hard to target, harder to destroy. "We warned them," Kyra said, her voice cold. "Now we finished this." The fleet wasn't just made of ships, it was made of ghosts. AI-piloted cruisers, biosoldiers frozen for centuries, and something even worse. The old guard. They were human once. Now they were half machine, built for one thing only: war in the most brutal conditions known to the galaxy. They were banned by the Galactic Council long ago, but Earth had kept them, quiet, waiting. Vendikar's defense grid tried to power up, but the satellites were already gone. The orbital stations melted under pinpoint kinetic strikes. Not a single human life was lost. On the ground, Council forces tried to rally, but their weapons were jammed. Their communication lines went dark. Earth's electronic warfare ships had locked everything down. Then came the drop-dot pods fell from orbit like silent meteors. When they cracked open, they released wave after wave of old guard soldier stall. Emotionless and completely loyal, the people of Vendikar screamed and ran. But these soldiers weren't here for civilians. They had one target only, the Council. Command Corps. Inside the Council chambers, panic reigned. High Councillor Verix pounded the table. We only removed one small human outpost. It wasn't even armed. Ambassador Ron, one of the few who had warned against pushing Earth too far, spoke quietly. You crossed the line, and now you see what lies beyond it. Outside the chamber, walls, explosions echoed. The floor shook. Earth's troops had landed, but there was something even worse on its way. In the dark space just beyond Vendikar's star, something massive approached. It didn't come through a gate. It didn't respond to scans. It simply burned its way across real space. Project Titan, the last human war arc, built not to fight a war but to end one. It carried no diplomats. It carried no warning. It carried judgment on the ground. Admiral Kyra opened a secure channel to all Council worlds. Her voice was calm, flat. This is not a war. This is a punishment. You took a child from Earth. Now Earth takes your pride, your power, and your illusions. All remaining forces stand down, or be erased. All across the galaxy, racers who once laughed at humanity now turned silent. They watched the live feeds with horror. They had never truly seen what humans were capable of. But now, with every Council world watching, they finally would. The stars dimmed across half the known galaxy, not because of a weapon, but because Earth's final fleet had arrived. Over 50,000 dark warships came out of fold space like shadows clawing across reality. Silent, still, deadly. Then they moved. The Krasari High Seat screamed orders across their command. Network, but too late, Earth had answered. And this time, it wasn't for diplomacy. This time, it was for extinction. Full story. Grand Strategist Varan of the Krasari watched in silence as the human fleet spread across the galactic sky. Each vessel bore no insignia, no color, just black steel, scarred armor, and cold vengeance. They were not part of this war, he whispered. How did it come to this? But he knew, everyone knew, they killed Earth's children, bombed their hospitals, mocked their peace. Now Earth would erase everything that allowed that cruelty. Inside the human command ship, Grievemind, Admiral Sarah Vance stood at the center of a silent command crew. Her voice cut through the darkness like a blade. All ships. Final protocol. One by one, human warships initiated silent fire sequences. They didn't broadcast warnings. They didn't issue ultimatums. They simply struck. Entire sectors went dark. Planetary shields shattered. Defense rings melted. Krasari warships designed for speed and elegance were torn apart by sheer human firepower. Not advanced. Not beautiful. Just effective. Relentless. Even the Galactic Council watching. From their safe seat beyond the reach of war felt the echo of destruction. Their own monitors flashed red, then black, as system after system fell. Is this what they truly are? A Zelian noble asked in terror. Humans are monsters. But it wasn't monstrous. It was controlled, precise, measured fury. On the ground, Krasari Prime. Civilians ran. not because they were being targeted, but because the human warships had arrived in low orbit, quiet, waiting. A single message played on every screen. This is not for conquest. This is not for power. This is your consequence. The skies over Krizari Prime turned red. Firestorms rained down not on civilians, but on military bunkers, weapons labs, and government strongholds. Humanity had chosen its targets carefully. They weren't destroying a people. They were destroying an empire. Back on Earth, a different kind of silence. In bunkers and towers, humanity watched. Not cheering, not celebrating, just watching. The people of Earth were quiet not because they doubted their fleet, but because they had crossed a line they never wanted to approach. They were no longer the peaceful ones. They were now the reckoning. Children asked their parents, "Why did we wait so long?" The answer was always the same: because we hoped they would stop. We hoped until they killed our own. The endgame on Krizari Prime, Grand Strategist Varan sent a final message. We surrender, unconditionally, just stop. But Earth didn't answer. Instead, a human dropship landed outside the Krizari command tower. Sarah Vance herself walked alone, unarmed, into the heart of her enemy's capital. She stared at the defeated leaders and said, "This is not the end of your species, but this is the end of your rule. We are not your prey. We are humanity, and we are finished waiting." Closing scene. Galactic maps began to redraw themselves. Human territory grew, but not because they claimed new worlds. Because other civilizations asked to join. For the first time, the galaxy feared Earth, but some also respected it. The message was clear. Humanity was never in their war. But once the final line was crossed, humanity became the war.